What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.
All right. We are back in season 2. Can you believe season 2?
It's crazy.
I'm so excited to be here. Season
I got
2.
a new couch to sit on.
New couch to sit on, new chairs, new everything. And welcome to the Floors.com studio. That's FLOORZZ, Floors.com studio. Floors.com is your one-stop shop for your next flooring or wall covering, remodel, or new build. So check them out, Floors.com. I'm glad to be in the studio, but I'm really glad to be back here interacting with everybody. It's so much fun interacting with our audience, whether it's live or if we're shooting, if it's social media or I see you at a restaurant. It's just so cool to be able to talk to everybody and see you. So thank you so much for checking out. These jabronis are back, and we're excited. But my guest today is Tony Carter, and we're super excited to have you, Tony, man.
Thank you for having me.
I'm actually really excited about you because you're with True North Pest Control, and you are really our title sponsor. We are a bug-free podcast. We're a bug-free podcast thanks to True North Pest Control, and I'm so excited about you guys because I was just reading this. True North Pest Control is your neighborhood pest control provider, and you can find them at TrueNorthPestControl.com. I'm just gonna pull this out here. I mean, I had it on this nice little thing, but I just
That's all right, dude. Hey,
I can't see my nose.
season 2, it ain't like the podcast is now $11.
We're the best $10 podcast you
No, it's 11.
With this old school pod, look at this iPad. I want one like that. It's old school.
Oh, you can buy the iPad with a sticker on it like that already?
Right from the merch store. We're taking over Apple, baby. But I'm so glad, man. You guys are all, in fact, you're all over the place. It's honestly in Georgia, it's probably easier for you to tell me where you're not in Georgia than where you are, because I looked you up. You are everywhere in Georgia.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know if, tell me there's a city somewhere that you're not servicing.
We don't do Rome, Georgia, or anything south of
They don't
Warner
have
Robins.
bugs. They don't have bugs in Rome.
No, it's just
Beautiful.
I mean, it's easier for you to tell me where you're not, because otherwise you are everywhere.
all of Metro Atlanta, all of Middle Georgia,
Yes.
all of Columbus area, all the way back up to Athens,
Yeah.
all the way back around from Lake Oconee, all the way over to Carrollton, Douglasville.
Man, it's crazy. And then in Florida, I was seeing you are like heavy in Central Florida.
Correct. All
We're
over
like
Atlantic.
Sanford, Winter Park, Kissimmee. Is that how you say it?
I would say it like
Yeah,
that.
kissing me.
Say Kissimmee. And then Orlando, of course, proper. And I mean, just
Yeah. Oh, and
all
Palm
over.
Bay, out to the East Coast.
Oh, you're
We go all
awesome.
the way to the East Coast over there on that side,
Oh, man.
all the way up to Daytona.
Holy cow, that's huge.
it's got 38 covered, it looks like.
And then you just
October 1st here.
you're here now.
Yes, sir.
Started on October 1st from basically Destin to Panama City right now.
Correct.
You're moving towards like Pensacola and all of that stuff.
That is the
I
dream
see,
and the
right.
vision.
That's where you're headed. And you're actually now a local here.
Correct. As of last Wednesday.
Congrats.
I mean, we're just washed out locals here. So I'm like a nice washed up local. Brandon's a little older washed up local. And Juice, it's a way washed up.
True local guy.
Like,
Yeah.
Way washed
Real
up.
local.
You're like a real local.
Pretty much, yeah.
You are like, I mean,
I'm a Florida boy.
Florida.
You know, Tallahassee.
You are.
But I've been here 30
You
years.
were in Georgia though, right?
Albany.
Albany. Albany.
Got out of there quick.
Got out there
Got out there quick. dude.
Hey, don't make fun of Albany. My brother was born there. Phoebe Putney. Hey, shout out Nate. Phoebe Putney.
The Hardy
Boy,
County.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so you'll learn. So with Washed Up Locals, we have two lists what we give people. We always love new locals because it's like you're still going to the beach occasionally. We haven't seen
You go to the beach on weekends.
Sunday special.
I don't know the last time I was at a beach with a towel in hand.
Oh, I go all the time.
I never
You
go.
are better than
I
most.
never go.
You are better than most, for sure. But then the other things, we have two lists, and you'll learn this. We have two lists. I have a list that I give out people when they say, hey, where do you go eat? Some of them are good. I've got a couple good restaurants on there. Now I have a VIP list that I don't tell everybody about. So you'll learn. It's like this love-hate. And, hey, listen, if you're not from our area in 30A and Miramar Beach, Destin, Florida, Santa Rosa Beach, if you're not from this Emerald Coast, we love you. We do. We love our tourists. Come down here. You'll have a great time. But we do keep certain restaurants a secret.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't have everybody blow it up.
That's right.
So I'm super excited about it. But now it is time for you to play What the Hell do I know with Tony Carter?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Seven questions, rapid succession. We'll put a clock on. I'll get my editor to throw a clock on or something. You can pass if you need a pass. So here we go. Here we go. 7 questions. What the hell do I know with Tony Carter? And many people have been wanting to put you on the hot seat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here we go, Tony. I'm sure. Here we go. Number 1, favorite place to eat in Atlanta.
Georgia boy in the Southern Belle.
Ooh, wow. All right. Number 2, if you are cheering for college football, who is your team?
The Georgia Bulldogs.
So, put it on. All right. Number 3, one word that you would use to describe yourself. This is
Aggressive.
I like it. All right. Number 4, favorite place to travel on vacation.
Montana.
Montana. I like it. We have not had Montana. Number 5, best hunt on following up with that best hunt you have ever been on.
White Sulphur Springs, Montana.
White Silver Springs. All right. What were you hunting?
Elk.
Elk. All right. Did you get one?
Yes, sir.
Of course you did, boy. Number 6, favorite place to eat here on the Emerald Coast. We'll give them one. Do you have a favorite yet?
Yes, it would be Beauchamp's.
I like Beauchamp's.
Yeah, that grouper sandwich there is solid. And everybody knows about
Atmosphere.
Beauchamp's.
You got to go earlier. It gets crazy crowded, especially during tourism.
I got to give it Beauchamp's.
I saw a 5-hour wait.
Season, like right now today.
I was there yesterday.
It's a great time right now.
Yes.
I've seen a 5-hour wait there.
All right. Number 7, most famous person you know.
JB.
Let's go.
Give him his quarter. Give him the quarter.
You are now off the hot seat.
That was great.
That was
brother.
I'll say Jason Womack said Montana.
Did he say?
He said Montana or Wyoming. I think he said Montana.
Montana.
Check that.
It's God's country.
To tape. I'll have to go to tape.
That was so good. Well, Tony, I want to give you a second. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on True North. What's going on? Anything you want in your life? A little helicopter view, like a little quip about what you've got going on.
So for me, I am True North Pest Control number 1. Yeah. I've sold every company that I've owned in the past and downsized just to one, which is True North. And then life coaching and business coaching. I do a lot of business coaching also. Yeah. So those are probably the big things right now and having fun.
That's awesome, man. That's so good. I mean, I'm so excited to have you in here because it's, and by the way, our drink of the day is B Cellars. This is a Beck and Stopper. I don't have the bottle out here, but Beck and Stopper is one of the if you know anything about wine, this guy is kind of the guy that basically in California determined that grapes had more value than, it wasn't just the winemaking, it was the fruit that meant something. So if you get something from a Beck and Stopper vineyard, it's usually kind of the best of the best of the best. And B Cellars has some allocation of that. This is from 2018 vintage, which is quite exceptional. So I'm excited about this. So this is our drink of the day. I don't know what yours is, but cheers to you guys. And as always, drink only if you're 21 or older and drink responsibly. So cheers.
Wow.
Cheers, Brandon.
Cheers, bro.
You can sleep on that couch after.
Oh,
Man, I am going to send in
some nice notes, huh? That is a smooth wine. 2018, just breathing. That's a smooth wine.
Wonderful.
That's a smooth
JB's got some good wine.
He
He knows his wine. He's pretty good on wine.
Nothing but the best for my friend Tony. One of the things is Tony and I met years and years ago back in our hometown of McDonough, Georgia, which is where I'm originally from. I say I'm from there. I mean, when I was younger, we moved around a little bit, but by the time I was 7 years old, I was essentially in Clayton County or Henry County. But I grew up in McDonough, Georgia.
Or Clayco people.
No Clayco people, babe. Clayco. That's right. Moved out. We moved out when they were building all the new stuff. I was kind of like a sophomore in high school. Moved out to the McDonough area in Eagles Landing High School. But then after I graduated, we had sold a business, and Tony and I we met at CrossFit. The CrossFit.
That's right.
In McDonough.
Brian Shockley's old place.
Shockley's old place. That's exactly right. This gym was like a family, though. I mean, they did such a great job. Everybody there as you came in, and CrossFit can be that way. Mm-hmm. I know people that probably continue to do CrossFit and feel that way. But CrossFit there, I never found that same gym again. I tried after I moved in several different places. That was a hard atmosphere to find. That was such a great atmosphere there.
Accountability and expectations will have you there.
Yeah, well, and then just the people. I mean, I got a lot of quit in me. And so, especially the gym.
You don't say.
So I like to be able to hang out and so getting to talk to have people and like you said, maybe holding you accountable or just knowing you're going to be there. That was always a good time. So I had sold a business and you and another guy were talking about garbage.
Yep.
And y'all were doing a little garbage business that you were starting up. And I just remember saying, did you just say garbage? Because I know what thinking.
I know they do about that.
I just got out of that. Hey, don't come back on me and hate me because I did not compete. I just talked to them about things that I might do differently. I could try to give you a little bit of advice. But man, you were in pests before that because you had a really big pest control company, a pest company before that.
Correct.
And then you did the garbage thing. You got out of that a little bit, then got back into it again and sold that. Like you said, you sold some of that. But your pest control business, which I won't say the name, but it was massive, man. I loved when you had that business. I mean, every house I owned in Georgia you were doing service, and we're switching them all back over now. So now that your non-compete's up, you get back into it. But you sold and did really well when you sold that business, and I know it. You're not going to tell. He's not telling the audience what he did.
We were blessed.
But you were blessed.
We were blessed.
Yeah, and it was great. And
Absolutely.
It was really. I know the feeling when we sold our family business. I was second generation garbage hauler, and I can remember it on a Friday, and it was Halloween was like that evening. And so it was like, it wasn't the 31st, but it was in October, and where we lived at the time, they would always do Halloween a Saturday night. They do it on Saturday night because no matter when it fell, it's just the closest Saturday to the 31st because it was just better for the kids and the parents and all that stuff.
College football now.
So that's the only downside is it was always like the Georgia. Yeah, it was
Georgia, Florida.
And I I would have to leave,
Man.
during those years,
kids.
we were losing anyway. So it was probably fine back then.
Porter was handling the
But I
thing.
can remember like the weight. I walked the lightest I've ever felt in my shoulders that Saturday at that Halloween.
Amen.
Yeah, when I sold that business, I was like, I felt successful. I was happy for my family. I was happy for my in-laws. I was happy for all of those things in the future, but I just had no more worries. If somebody got hurt or something went bad,
I know the feeling.
it wasn't on me.
Yep.
Yeah, but you just put all that weight back on, brother.
You learn quickly that you can't walk on the beach but so much, you can't do but so much, you can't vacation but so much, and you got to have purpose. So that's why I got back into it.
Heck, why don't you start a podcast like me?
And I'd rather just come and join you.
There you go. You can come on anytime.
That's right.
Yo. True North Pest Control. They are all over Central Florida, Georgia, and they just moved here to the Emerald Coast. I just switched my service over to them. You got to check them out. Tell them JB sent you. They'll take care of you. We are a bug-free podcast because of them. True North Pest Control. Now back to the show. I mean, what does it take what do you think it takes to have a successful company? And exit, like you said. I mean, I can remember being there. I can remember exiting. I remember all it took for me to get to that point. Mm-hmm. But for you, like, what do you see?
I think number one, you got to take care of your people. Yeah. If you recruit the right talent, take care of them, and then it takes time. Yeah. So with that, you got to have that plan. Then you got to have the action. So the action is the time that it takes. So everybody wants to get rich quick. That don't exist.
No.
If you want to win the lottery, fine. But outside of that, money is made over long periods of time.
Man, that's the number one thing I tell everybody because I know so many entrepreneurs that they start a company and then in a few years they've had a little bit of success. They got a little scratch to it, and sometimes they just exit and sell.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to do anything well, it's got time, right? You got.
And the longer you hold it, the more money you make.
Well, the other thing is we talk about proof of concept. Proof of concept is not something done in 30 days or 2 years, 3 years. Proof of concept to make somebody really want to pay you, in the words of Jerry Maguire or the player of it, Quan.
Yeah.
Quan,
Show me the money.
Show me the money. In the words of Jerry Maguire, I feel like it takes years. I mean, my father-in-law used to say it was roughly 10 years.
And that's our goal for this next company is a 10-year program.
It's interesting. That's so interesting that's where your goal is because he always felt like 10 years is where you can really have that there's a peak. Like there's a peak for a company. Sometimes it can keep going on. The sanitation, and I think plenty of times you can get into it. We did almost 25 years in sanitation. So you're well past the 10-year mark. But sometimes there's a peak. 10 years can also be like there's going to be a plateau depending on the businesses you're in. I mean, being in residential, they're always building houses.
And the thing, too, is the energy level. So when my dad was first generation in the pest business, and we were smaller, but when I came, I had more energy. I was younger and more aggressive, just like you were when you came in and helped with the business there. So you have a tendency to drive the business up. So what I did, I sold the business after I purchased the previous company after 10 years.
Ah,
So I got to 10 years and realized I'd grown the company from $4 million a year in revenue to $25 million a year in revenue, and bought and sold several other service industry companies. One was trash, one was heating and air. So that was when the time came. It was just the right time, the right moment.
Well, I always feel that way. I can remember, every year for the last 5 years when we were in business, people would knock on our door and ask us if we would sell. I say knock on our door, right? I get a phone call. Would you sit down, go to lunch? And I mean, I'd hear these people out, but sometimes I just say, look, if you want to go any further, you're going to have to start writing some numbers down on paper. And you get this number, you get that number. And we've always just felt like we were growing at such a clip that my normal response was, you need to pay me what I'm worth 3, 4, 5 years from now. Mm-hmm. Well, one day they finally put a number in front of me. I can remember I called my father-in-law who was living here on the Emerald Coast, and I said, Dave, man, here's the number. And he said, well, Jason, the hungry pig gets fed, the greedy pig gets slaughtered. He said, I think it's time to go.
My dad's quote was, what legacy are you going to leave your children? And I said, it's never going to be this business. He said, you've made the right decision.
That's right.
Because it's not about the business, it's about your kids.
We never got married to the business. We got married to the mission.
And
so, you could go on 100% because you could hold on to it. Once we sold the business, I didn't care if they painted those trucks canary yellow.
Yeah, exactly.
They
can burn it to the ground.
Right. I wanted now, the interesting thing is because I felt like, and I would, if I were to redo it again based on the things I know, I mean, now we're talking almost 15, 16 years ago that we sold that business. And if I could think to that time frame, because I'm with you, you've got to have good people, you got to invest in them. When we were transitioning, I did everything I could to protect people's positions, but I don't think there's just so much economies of scale when another company comes in and there's stuff that just doesn't.
Well, they got to pay for the acquisition too, so
right.
they got it. Headcount gets cut,
and that's the hard thing when that happens, because I think people that were inside your organization is like, well, what happened here? So I tried to give people some bonuses and some cash in the event that they weren't going to be needed going forward.
Sure.
Looking back 20 years later, I'd like to think I could maybe control that, but you can't. Once you sell the company, it's theirs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. So I try to prepare folks for it and get them ready for it. But I had a great dear friend of mine, you know him, and I know he worked with you as well, but he was like my VP. And I really transitioned him to stay there. And within a few months, they were like, they knew going in they weren't going to keep him. And there's nothing I could do about it. And so hey, don't cry for him. He's turned out fine. He's done well. He's done well. That's probably the best thing that ever happened to him. He's done well. Yeah. So well, y'all know who that would be. That would be our friend Joe. Say who that is. Joe. That's our good friend Joe. Hey, don't cry for Joe. He's doing great. He's loving life. But we're talking about time. I mean, I do think consistency to what you're doing maximizes that value of the asset. Do you feel that way?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, you can't waste the time. The thing that most people don't realize is throughout a year, so much time is wasted. You have 100 employees and they all waste 30 minutes a day apiece. Look at what that compounds into. Mm-hmm. So when it's the consistency is having the processes and systems in place. Right. I tell people all the time that Chick-fil-A is basically ran by a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids. Mm-hmm. It's a $19+ billion company. Right. But its systems and processes are in such good and that's what you're doing.
You can't hardly get outside what that system is and what that process is. That's it. Yeah. That's true.
So that consistency is what helps that. When you get that consistency in place.
But when you're setting up a process for a company and you're telling somebody, I mean, that can seem like a daunting task. Because I think back to the old days. Like, remember when you used to have a standard operating procedure?
Oh, SOP,
for
sure.
SOP, right?
Yeah.
And you have a book. Man, I can remember creating my own for sanitation. And I mean, I was like a poor man's book where I printed out and put in like a 3-ring binder. Mm-hmm. But the thing would be like this with tabs on it. And you're trying to create that for several other customer service reps or drivers or whatever. And it's like, flip to page 398. I mean, it can.
Here's going to spell it out for you.
It's like 6 months of work and labor to put in there on this. But what is now it's got to be a little bit easier, right?
I find that most companies don't even have SOP.
No.
And so when I consult with them, I sit down and go, okay, well, tell me what your standard operating procedures are or your daily tasks. Yeah. Well, we don't have them. Yeah. So what do you know what to do every day? How do you know how to function? How do you know how to operate
Phone
the business?
rings, people answer.
Yeah, and I'm like, so when you're not here or Joe's out at work or on vacation, who knows how to step in? Right. Oh, we just figured it out. Well, that's why you need those SOPs,
That's why
those
you need
guidelines
it.
keep you in
That's
place.
exactly right.
So today it's with AI and
I
technology.
was gonna say with AI, you could probably write an SOP so much quicker, right?
yeah.
So you should lean into technology. I mean, what would you say if you were going to say, write up a one page on how to answer the phones? You want to say, hello, hi, because we used to have it. It was thank you for choosing CLM. How may I help you? That was
Ours was, it's a great day at.
I like it.
And then when we were in the heating and air business with the pest control company, it was a great day at Active.
Yeah.
And the temperature is 63 degrees. And everybody would always, why do you say the temperature? Because it prompts people to go,
Am I hot? Am I cold? Is my
well,
temperature
not only
good?
that, oh, we're in the heating and air business now.
that's
So we wanted to equate to that in there. There's that another little tagline on
You don't realize those little things that mean something.
You got it.
You don't realize those little. We always had. How did you hear about us? That was the one thing we always ask that question. How did you hear about us? Because I wanted to know where the marketing money was being spent. Right. So did you hear about? Did you see our can? Did you see our truck? Did you? We tracked every single thing on the phone call. I mean,
I agree.
I knew exactly why that person called and what was the outcome of that call, and I would have that in a spreadsheet every day from every manager. And I would then dump it in there, and I take that, and that's how I made decisions on where did we need to hire more people? Do we need to, downsize? Did we need whatever it was? Were we growing at the right place or what?
Because when I ask somebody how many phone calls you got and they can't tell you, I'm like, so if you got 6 people in the office, how many calls they answer a piece? I don't know. So do you need 6 or do you need 4?
Yeah.
Or do you need 10?
Yeah.
Are they not getting good customer service and quality because they're maxed out on their time and their effort and energy?
You got to
know the matrix.
You got to know. I can remember when we did Noonan, we took over a contract for the city of Noonan, and we had this old guy there. He'd been there forever. Now, the city of Noonan had a public works department that was running their sanitation department. They had 40 people in their public works department running their sanitation department for 8,000 residents.
Wow.
Now, they were subsidized. They would charge them $13 a month for garbage service. It's insane that I remember these numbers. But they were subsidizing $1.2 million from the general fund to pay because $13 a month did cover because that's 40 people and all these pieces of equipment. And I can remember I came in, I said, we're going to cut this down to 13 people, and I'm going to run with newer equipment. We're going to run efficiently. I'm going to go from back. Now, they had backdoor service. We're going to make everybody curb, and I'm going to do it for $13 a month, and I'm going to make 30% profit on it.
They were like, how are you going to do that?
And I remember this old guy said, you'll never be able to pick this up with 13 people. And I looked him straight dead in the face. I said, well, you're not going to be one of the 13, but watch me. We did it. So it is, you got to understand your efficiencies and what you can do. So sometimes people, like if you don't know your business, then people can get over on you, right? That's what happens, right?
Absolutely.
I need 5 people to do my job, or I need 3 people to do my job, or I need to figure out. So if you're a leader in your company, you got to understand every aspect of your business so people can't get over on you.
Well, you've heard so many people talk about, I'd rather have 1 A+ player than 2 B players.
100%.
Because that's 2 salaries compared to the 1. The A+ may cost you a little bit more, but his efficiency and opportunity that he's going to do to create for the business is going to outweigh the 2 B players all day long.
All day long.
So that's the efficiency you got to have, the consistency and the tracking.
100%. You were talking about phone calls. One time we had this phone call. I can remember it just felt like there was a point in time in our company, and my father-in-law was training me, but he didn't really have a whole like I wrote out most of our standard operating procedures, and I get it because when he was growing it there in the beginning, it was just like drinking from a fire hydrant. And there were days like that. And he was trying to find he was working the trucks and working the phones,
But not fire.
all that stuff. Yeah, it felt that way, right? And so we were trying to graduate into, really, because you can own a business or you can be a business owner, right?
Amen.
I mean, there's 2
Work in
different
it
things.
or work for it.
Yeah.
Work on it or work in it.
Work on it or work in it. That's exactly right. He wanted to work on it, not work in it.
Exactly.
And I wanted to get to that point where I'm working on it, not in it. Because if you're the CEO of a company and you're working every day in it and you're having to answer your phones, which is fine, you have to pull the cart out of the ditch. There's times for that. And I get it. But you can't be
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's hard to grow in that.
Yeah, you won't grow the business to the level you want to either.
Exactly right. So, but I can remember our phones were ringing so much, and I called him up on the phone. I said, Dave, I have got to hire another person on the phones. He said, why? I said, because we can't answer them. We're missing calls. He said, okay, but why? I said, because I just told you we're missing calls. And he said, well, you haven't explained it to me. And so he hung up. And so I called him back the next day. I said, Dave, we gotta have more because I can't answer all these calls. and I think the work people's attitudes are going down. They're just over inundated. We've got to get the pressure off the lines, and I think we're missing customers sign-ups. He goes, "You're close. You got to tell me why." And he hung up. It took me 3 days, maybe 4 days later. I called him back. I said, "David, if I had one person to it, I'm missing about 100 calls. Out of those 100 calls, 20 of them are going to be signups. Out of those 20 signups, they're going to spend roughly X amount of dollars per year on sanitation, and traditionally they'll stay with us for 3 years before they leave or forever past that. So it's probably worth $300 per every time they came on, right? So 20 of them is X amount of dollars per day is X amount of dollars. And so that salary hiring that person is going to be this. And so that, if they come on, I can pay for them just by the people that they sign up." And he said, "You've now explained why you need one." He goes, "In fact, you don't need one, you need two."
I just wanted you to see it.
I just want you to understand.
I wanted you to see it.
They don't always teach that in college. How to understand why everything you're doing should come down to how does that equate to the bottom line, and not the bottom line before taxes, not the bottom line before all the mojo that everybody on Wall Street wants to do, or EBITDA or whatever. I mean, free cash flow.
Because everybody thinks that your revenue is how much money you're making.
No.
If you do $1 million, no, you don't. You're not $1 million. You're not a millionaire.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right. It's how much you made at the end. So if you only made $100,000 on $1 million worth of revenue, you really only made $100,000.
That's exactly
You cared about the $1 million in
on $1
revenue.
million revenue, that's on 10%.
Which is not good.
I don't want to get out of bed for 10%.
No.
You have that.
I can go work for Buc-ee's for 10%.
100%.
And make good money.
Anything else and make that.
Yep.
I used to tell people I don't want to touch it if it wasn't 30%.
That's right.
So I get it. And when I deal with contractors, I'm always beating them down on my end. They're like, "Hey, we're hitting on my 30%. I'm like, "All right, I understand. I understand. I just don't want you to kill me.
That's right.
I get it.
Yeah, don't get rich on me.
Right. Be fair.
Yeah.
I want fair. That's right. I don't want any deals. So we talked about time. I mean, so the other thing I wanted to ask you about is you got hashtags that on your social that one of them is plan, action, consistency. Like everything you post, you'll have a hashtag, and it'll be PAC or it'll be hashtag plan, action, consistency. Why are you using that hashtag?
So for me, anything I do now, whether it's my relationships with my kids, my relationship in business, my workout routine, I got to have a plan for it, and I want action, and I want consistency. Because the old saying goes, if you don't write it down, you'll never achieve it. I always like to say I'm one of the laziest people in the room. Yeah. People don't realize I fight getting out of bed every morning, but I'm up every day at 4 a.m. Because if I don't defeat myself. So I've got to defeat myself, come up with my plan for the day, have action, have movement. Yep. So I'm going to be moving, whether it's moving in the right direction or the wrong direction, at least I moved that day.
Right.
And then the consistency is put it in place. So I started hunting in Montana 2.5, 3 years ago. I weighed 275. I came out of that trip miserable.
That's it.
It's a lot of walking to Montana.
Yeah.
A lot of incline. Yeah, a lot of incline, a lot of elevation. So I'm like, I told those guys, I said,
hilarious?
no. We're up in the rocks and the mountains and the trees with the elk and the bear.
The elk don't walk to you to get shot.
The same, tied to a tree or hang. They go higher.
Yeah, I thought they bring them to you up there,
So I came out of there, and that's what started the plan, action, consistency was I'm going to write everything down I do. I'm going to put action and movement to it, and then I'm just going to be consistent. So 106 weeks later, I can tell you exactly how many times I've worked out, when it was, what time, what their workout was. I'm 60 pounds lighter and
Feeling better.
I know,
healthier.
yeah. Life is good.
Your doctor says everything.
Oh, I'm off all my medications.
So I was sitting here probably eating right, eating healthier, all that stuff, and probably added another 10 years to your life that you didn't
That's
know
what
about.
I heard. Because now I eat healthier. I drink very little.
Sure.
I drink no soft drinks, monsters, any of that. Yes, I did have I like red wine.
Yeah.
I do love my red wine.
My doctor in my last physical told me that was healthy.
Yeah, it's okay to have a glass
He
of
didn't
sugar.
tell me it was the whole bottle, but he did.
The
tell
amount
me
was the
wine
issue,
good.
yeah. It's the amount.
Hold on. I'll cheers to that.
Cheers.
She said wine was good. We need to have
Wine
a.
was good. I said, all right, Doc. I saw him out the other day and had a glass of wine with him. So
Yeah, you can eat the same amount of food, drink the same amount of liquids. It's what you're intaking is the key.
that's right.
It's what you're eating and what you're drinking is the
That's a good point.
100%.
Yeah, that's a good point. What I think is interesting that you said there was that you came up with plan, action, consistency 3 years ago. So I think what our audience needs to understand, and especially you young people, and I don't know, actually of all ages, you're never done learning.
Oh, I
You're never done like adjusting.
I read my first book at 34 years old.
Come on.
So we talk about mentorship and things like
I know you're from Georgia. Is it South Georgia?
No, I'm from Jonesboro High School.
Well, they didn't teach you to read there.
I
went to Jonesboro for 2 years too, brother. The Red
Devils.
Yeah.
No, they're the Cardinals. I'm sorry, the Red Devils was the junior high. Cardinals, Jonesboro Cardinals. Was Al Hughes there when you were there?
Yep.
Come on.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, well, Fred Smith, we walked out because they made him retire. So
Oh, wow.
we walked out of class.
I remember that.
Well, I don't know. The guy was.
He was in his 70s when I was there, and I
He
graduated
was-
4 or 5 years before you did.
Yes. And so he was ready to retire. And so my 10th grade year, though, they made him retire early or something. There was some big. I don't remember the thing about it. I just remember we walked out of class.
And I thought that
As
reason
an
not
entire
your school. Yeah.
As an entire school for Fred Smith.
Oh, he's the ass. Fair but nice.
He had been there forever. So everybody, and especially it was led by the seniors. I was like a sophomore at the time. And we all walked, and we just walked out of class and never came back, 11 o'clock in the morning.
We're going.
Of course, I just, any reason to walk, yeah.
Exactly.
You could have told me it was for.
If the seniors are doing it, we're doing
They're
it.
leading the
Exactly,
way.
yeah.
I didn't even know Fred Smith. Because I was just a sophomore. It's like my first part of my sophomore year, and I transferred like a month later to Eagles Landing. Yeah, so I only spent 1 year under, I guess, under him,
Yeah.
and I was never in the office. I was a good kid for the most part. I mean, I didn't.
Not a troublemaker then.
No, I really wasn't much of a troublemaker. I just didn't apply myself real well. I probably hung out with kids that I don't know, and I can't really blame it on them. It's all on me, but I just didn't apply. I could just remember not applying myself well my sophomore year, and when I transferred, probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I didn't know as many people, and I didn't want to be like somebody that just didn't study or didn't do well. So I applied myself slightly better.
It worked out good.
And it worked. It ended up working out. And then I met Danielle, which was, by far, she made me apply myself. So a good
Heaven's gift.
Heaven's gift. That's right. You got another hashtag that I also like. That's faith, fitness, family, and finance.
Quadruple F.
I know. Yes.
like it.
Faith,
F4.
faith,
F4,
fitness,
okay.
family, and finance. Now I had the opportunity to come speak to your employees, and I think I know why the order is there, but I want to hear it from you.
So for me, faith is everything. You got to believe in something, right? So, and I don't knock anybody in their belief or religions, but for me, I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a true believer in my opinion. So with that, after faith, you got to have fitness, and it ain't physical. It's much more. It's mentally and emotionally. Mm-hmm. I think the part of our country's problem is we get so hung up in social media and the world we're in, and the got to have it right now in that moment. Right. So the fitness to me is emotionally and physically or mentally fit. Okay. Then if you get the physical side, well, now for your family comes next. Well, now you're your best self or your best people, which is your family.
Yes, I love it.
And then after that, then it should be your finances. So if you get those in order and you take care of yourself, you can take care of everybody around you. And you think about the people you work with or your family, and you look at their health, and then you look at their mental and emotional state, you're like, I don't want none of that. I don't want to be a part of that. So
I'm in on you too, and I like that you said I like to leave space for people's unbelief, and they can believe in something else, and I get it. Where you're from and whatnot. For me, I'm with you. Jesus is the answer for me, and I find that I love how you set it up with the fitness, and I love how you said it was mental fitness, and of course physical fitness, but that mental health is so important. Which is sometimes I feel like the church, they're not every church, not all the time, not everywhere, but that is something I think that in our faith, we sometimes done not a great job. I love how you pointed to that mental health being something.
Well, the problem is look at the country.
Yeah.
And then not where we're at right now with a lot of single parents and a lot of single moms. We're struggling as a society, and then when you get the pressure these kids are getting in school, and they, for the 80s and 90s, or say the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. Right. I'm living proof you don't have to go to college. Yeah. My net worth is a lot. I'm a blue collar millionaire. There you go. I came from the side that the whole private equity group is figuring out now. That's exactly right. They all want blue collar jobs. They all want blue collar companies because AI is going to take over everything.
That's what we are as a service.
That's right. That's what we are.
For sure.
So with that, it's the pressure that has come to our country I think is what's caused the mental side for me. And I just think that I see more homeless than I've ever seen before at my age. I see people struggling individually. So it's like, man,
Well, social media kind of puts it
Social
in front
media
of you
is
a
a
lot
lot.
more, right? Because I mean, was as a percentage, and I don't know this, but was the percentage similar, 20 years ago?
No, so I had a
think
conversation with my brother about this. He's 26.
Yep.
And he's influenced a lot by that. So he feels like, you see instantly, I got to be like this person, I got to be like this. If I'm not at this level, at this point in life, I'm not successful. And it's more depressing than them.
and these kids that are you see on social media and Instagram and Snapchat and all these other sites, their lives is not what they're making it on there to be.
Oh, it's
100%, 85, 90% of it's artificial.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never really put on, although I should be like the antisocial and do like some failures that I've had in parenting, and like that needs to be a clip. But
Yeah, you can't always have your positive on online.
it's always the best foot forward.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is I've started doing these live videos where I don't necessarily know what to say, and I'm going to flub up the words. I might have a point that I'm going to talk about, but it's not great. It's like one take wonder, and you have to do it. Where if we are shooting a reel, or if we're shooting like a commercial or something for the show, I could do 5 takes, 10 takes, 20 takes if I want.
You look
I can edit
perfect.
it and come get the lighting right and do whatever I want, which is what most of the stuff is online.
Sure.
Like when I do a reel, most of my reels, it's probably taking me at least 3 or 4 times, to get it.
No, to make it look
Get it right. I flubbed up that word. Let me say it
Right.
again or whatever. Even if it's a short one, So when you go live, it's like this is just me, and
Well, the problem is you do all that work, put online, and you don't get the amount of likes or follows from it. People get upset about it.
What's interesting is the last few live videos I've done, which by the time this comes out will be in January, so it won't be maybe a month away. So I'm interested to see what it'll look like at that point in time, because I'm going to do more of them. But I've actually had more interactions on my live videos here lately
it's more authentic.
than I've had anything, and I think it's the authenticity.
Always, that's
I think
why
it's the
podcasts.
authenticity.
That's why you saw the election. What happened, right? People watch podcasts, sitting there. I did you long format interview.
Watch 5 hours of
Not
podcast.
something you can cut in and out on, and you can manipulate how the interview comes out, right?
No, I think you're right. Yeah,
People like authenticity better.
The one thing I was going to say about the mental health is sometimes in the church, what I've seen is like, so if somebody were come to you and said, in the church especially, and they said, hey, look, I've got some heart murmurs coming, they would say, you need to go see a doctor. But traditionally what's happened in a lot of churches, if somebody says, well, I am really struggling with anxiety, they'd be like, you need to be praying more.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
wait a
or,
second.
or the sad part is what kind of medication do we need to get you on? Is the thing that's scary that we're dealing with right now.
What we don't do enough, and it's the thing I love about your mental health, is I think you've got to figure out what works for you. I'm a big proponent of counseling. I think counseling is very good. I think if you find a good therapist, I think there's things like betterhealth.com, and there's places you can do that make counseling so much more readily available, and also consumption, being able to consume it a little bit better and price wise. So I think there's so much more out there to be able to have somebody to listen to. But if it's not that, I think you need to find something, right? Maybe it needs to be running. Maybe it needs to be
Exercise,
right?
definitely.
Maybe you need to read some self-help books. Maybe if you're not quite to counseling yet, you need to try something different. Because here's the one thing I know. If you do the same thing over and over and over again, you will get the exact same result. And it's the definition of insanity. Yeah. And so I think you've got to figure it out. So I love that you pointed on that, because and I like your direction: faith, fitness, family, and finance. I always liked it when you started putting those hashtags in there, and I think I nailed it when I came. I had a chance to speak to your group.
You outlined there a little.
But I outlined this. I think this is why Tony did it in this order.
Well, the thing for me is this: when I started looking the last couple of years, realizing that I wanted to get back into business
Yeah.
and to build a bigger company than I had previously.
Right.
The goal was, am I going to be the leader I needed to be to do that? So I had to do a self-check.
Oh, good
So I
call.
started creating. That's when I started getting up every day. I started at 5
Oh
a.m.
my gosh! Say that again. You want to be the leader.
Yeah, to be a leader of something you've never done before, you have to change who you are to be that leader.
You want to make sure you're the right leader.
Yeah, and I tell people every day, the previous company I had was $25 million a year in revenue. My dream and goal and expectations, and I will believe I'll achieve it, is to grow True North to $100 million a year.
Let's go.
Well, just
buddy.
like-
Let's go, bud.
Well, the thing is, just like you with the trash business, if you would have bought a $100 million company and they handed it to you, you would have struggled running it.
Oh, it wouldn't have been the same.
That's the exact thing with me. So now that I've been prepared, I've been training, I have been being coached,
I don't want a
mentored.
garbage business again, though.
No, I understand. I like the fast business.
I'm going to podcast business.
I like the podcast business.
Good thing for Tony is there's a lot of bugs in Florida.
Hey, and that's the thing.
Good thing for you. Hey, I switched my service over to Tony.
I'm about to.
And I got reduction in my rate. And I'm telling you, they show up, and I want to like throw my other guys in the bus, so I ain't gonna say their name. But there are times that I know they weren't spraying for my mosquitoes, and I see your guys, and they're there, and they are polite. And again, I'm not throwing the other company because they were super polite too. But I've also known Tony too long, so I'm gonna give you.
I appreciate the support.
But you guys continue to crush it though. By the way, and I know in this you've seen probably one of the commercials, but I'm telling you, when you call True North Pest Control, you need to tell them JB sent you for sure.
We appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. What is your favorite charity here in town?
Oh, so it is crazy to just ask that because it is the next pod coming, and it is Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. And I absolutely love that pod. We're doing one with them. We're talking about charity and giving back. I'm so excited about it. In fact, I'll ask you right here on the pod, if you'll do it, I'm going to buy a table for their gala in March.
I'm in, but I'll also, for the month of January and February, we'll match every dollar we do in revenue for the 30A office.
Okay.
And we'll donate it under your name to
Oh
our
my gosh, did you just hear that?
So what else? Yeah.
Say congratulations.
She Center, and Julie will be here. Crazy. Authenticity, my audience, we like to shoot pods in a row when we're all here and we have time off. So Julie, the founder and CEO of Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center, will be here before you.
Recording. Good.
Yeah. So I'll have to introduce you to her because I want to do a table. We're going to do a gala. I want you guys to come too. We'll do the galas. Nice dress up.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun. They do a great job there, but and they raise a ton of money. But what they do in advocating for kids in this community, which and Julie says this the other day. I saw a post she wrote, and we'll talk about it later. But she said something to the effect that she cannot fathom why anybody would hurt kids.
I agree.
But she can they step in and they're the advocate. So with whatever's happened, whatever's gone on, they advocate for that child. And they want to get them to a place that they can have new memories and can get to a mental health space and get to a place. Because these kids come out of incredibly, really, really tough situations here. And it's and it's not just here in 38. It's Niceville. It's,
Our whole country, unfortunately.
It's Walton County.
Yeah.
She covers Okaloosa and Walton County. Yeah. So it's huge. Yeah.
I've always been a component of, and I still to this day, for 30 years, I've been supporting missionaries across the country, and it's all to do with children. Mm-hmm. And whether they're local, Honduras, Romania, Albania, all those places, that reason, because an adult can do their own thing. A child,
that's right. No help.
There's no help.
But that's our future, though.
Exactly.
I was playing golf with some guys the other day, and they were telling me how they said he made a comment, and God bless them. I like both these guys. So if they're watching this pod, and who watches
Record skip playing golf.
I did.
Okay.
I'm glad I almost interjected that too.
Putt-putt? Or do you
I have to tell you this story.
All right.
But he it's such a crazy story. He caught me in a weak moment on a Friday night, date night, and got me to free to play golf on Sunday. So I got out playing golf on Sunday, and at one point during the golf, he said something to the effect of like, I don't know what's happening with the kid. He said something to the other guy, and their kids are a little bit older than mine. But he's like, I'm kind of worried about our kids going out into the workforce, what's coming out for them. And part of it was they'll never be able to buy a house and they'll never be able to do that. But I told him I disagree. Mm-hmm. I just disagree with it. I mean, inflation's happening. People have been paid higher wages, little bit by bit. We're doing better. Companies are being better. But what I told him is I'm actually really excited for this next generation. They think about the world differently.
Absolutely.
And so I'm super excited about what kind of efficiencies will they bring to the game.
That's right.
But I mean, I told him, I said, when I was 21, 22 years old, I remember thinking, I don't know how I'm going to balance a checkbook. You don't even got to balance a checkbook now. You just look at it in your wallet.
You can look at it live.
You look at it live.
Yeah.
But that might be why there's less work, because of AI.
Well, I mean, but they still are thinking, I don't think that I actually think, and I know people they harp on work ethic from the millennials or work ethic from this. And there's bad people in every generation that give it a bad name. Mm-hmm. But I've met some incredibly hard-working millennials and incredibly hard-working Gen Xers. Yeah. And I've got kids in those generations, and I'm telling you, I've seen good sides of them. They just think about the world differently. So if they feel like they can accomplish something in 4 hours that you were doing in 8, why can't they? And they might do something else on top of that as well too.
And I'm with you because I have 4 kids that are all in that same age bracket right now.
Your kids are incredible people, too.
Yeah, and we're blessed.
Yes.
So 2 in college, 2 working for the business. And in all of that, I go back and think I've been blessed to go speak at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia
The Bears.
for the entrepreneur class and the business management leadership.
Yeah.
And until the last year going down there speaking to those kids, I was worried. But there are so many of those kids that I get to talk to every day now that I feel confident and good about where we're headed. Because I was the same boat, like, man, this next group of kids, we're in trouble. We're really going to be struggling with them.
But once you talk to them, you know.
No,
they're
once you get
focused
involved
and
in
they're
their
driven
lives,
and they can do
yes.
so much. And so I'm telling you, young people, we are believers.
Yes,
We're
sir.
believers. We're believers in you.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, this generation's going to be so much.
We're going
It's going to blow us away.
I think that,
They blow us away. Hey, y'all. New customer of True North Pest Control here on the Emerald Coast, Central Florida, Georgia. You got to check them out.
Yeah, they get rid of all the unwanted pests in your house, including termites and mosquitoes. Tell them the jabroni sent you. Back to the show.
We are live and back again. I don't even know why I had to do that. Juice and I talked about not saying anything because we were just going to be like, just go seamless, Jason. Just go sing. I'm a $10.
Your first podcast?
I'm a jabroni, man. It's a $10
the second season?
podcast here. $10 second season.
First
you know,
podcast.
we only did 20 of these. This next season we're going to do better than 40 of them. So we're going to try to go week to week. I'm going to start out. This one's going to be on the second Tuesday, I think, of January, and then we'll do 2 weeks later. I'll do the next one, but then it'll be every week. We will have 2 direct to your device, however you like to get podcasts.
Well, by the time this comes out, we'll have beaten Indiana in the second round.
We will. By the time this comes out, we will have beaten Indiana in the quarterfinals of college football.
And what's weird,
Well, unless Indiana gets slaughtered by Notre Dame. We
That's
don't
not
know
happening.
that. Well, it's at Notre Dame, brother.
yeah,
It's at Notre Dame.
who cares?
It's at Notre Dame.
It's in Indiana.
I'm pulling for it.
It's
Hey,
in
where are we
Indiana.
watching the game Friday?
Is it this Friday, Coach?
It's this Friday. Where are we watching the game?
My mom's in town, so we got to find a big venue.
I mean, I'm okay with
If
it.
you want to
at my
host it,
house.
I will.
I'm okay with
Let's
it
go
at
to
my
your house. I'm in for it.
I'm okay.
My
You're
house
welcome
is-
to come.
My house is a little tiny.
You gonna be out?
I've been in New York.
Oh,
I'm
you always
sneaking off to New
traveling
York.
so
Yeah.
good.
Sneaking out.
Traveling
New York
so good.
City.
New York
New
City. You
York
gonna take you
City.
taking kids? You doing
I'm just
anything?
going up there to just chill out and take a couple of days off.
You go, do you go by yourself?
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You just got to
Then you get
Reset,
to
recompress. Yep.
and see the lights, take it all in. Have some good. Have you? So I know you've been to New York before.
Yes,
Do you
never been at
follow-
Christmas.
Do you follow?
yeah,
I hear it's amazing.
Christmas.
I've never been to Christmas. It's on my bucket list. I'm going to go. Hey, do you follow like Barstool Sports or Dave Portnoy
No.
or any of that? So he has an app. It's called the One Bite app. Download the One Bite app and then
Okay.
just Google your best pizza joints in your area you're at, and he rates them. And everybody rates them. This guy eats pizza like every day.
Yeah.
It's insane. So the best pizza in the world is in New York or Connecticut. Connecticut has some good ones. I mean, the Northeast has some really good ones. We're getting better down here in
Where
Florida.
Rick Evan come from?
But they've got there's a John's on Bleecker Street. It's probably one of the best pizzas I've ever had. It's in New York City.
Okay, John's on Bleak.
In fact, I get back tomorrow.
Doing a whole week or so?
Just a couple of days. Just going up there and going to check it out.
I'll send you the thing so you can. But
What was the app again?
One Bite.
One Bite.
That's his thing. He eats the whole slice. But he's like one bite. That's all.
How many
He rates
rates one side on one side?
and he rates it between 1 and 10. But he never gives a 10 because there's no perfect.
Never happened.
Never happened. But if you get into that 9 world,
8.5, 9, you're there. You're at the top of the show.
A 9 will change your business.
it's going to change your business. There
You will double your business.
Pizzas in New York. I'm
And
telling you, you'll go there and you'll wait in line 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get a
once he
to get your
tastes
order.
your pizza and he's done
good.
it,
And he's
Get
not
ready.
good at Bleeckers. There's one that's it's like a fine, like more a white tablecloth pizza, but it's sick and thin.
like
Right around the
Rwanda.
corner is more the college football pizza, but it's probably best college football pizza I've ever had. So it's amazing what they do. So yeah, you got to check the One Bite app while you can go. That'd be so good. But it is time for a Delve card. It is time.
I'm so ready for the Dome card.
Juice, oh juice, where are you? We're waiting patiently for what you do. Google Guru, he'll make it right. In a flash, he'll solve the fight. Oh man, he's good at poker, that's right.
Where are you, Juice?
Well, when you're in New York, you should go see my island, Ellis Island.
Ellis Island. Okay.
Check that out. That's my family owns that.
That's where my family came in.
I think where we all came in.
That's what's going to happen originally.
Yeah, my grandfather came through. My great grandfather came through as a
We probably gave you your last name Becker. Actually, my family probably named
It would
you
just
down
be-
there.
it was-
yeah. That's what we did. We named families.
Gosh, I wanted. It
Bunch of
wasn't
butts.
Palmer either. It was Marmon. Marmon was his name. Marmon.
Your dad's
My
grandpa?
great grandfather's last name was Marmon. It would have been on my mother's.
Yeah, we gen.
her mother's.
Yeah.
The grandfather. He was from Hungary. Fought in the Austrian-Hungary War and lost his wife and came over to America.
Wow.
as you kids.
I thought you were Irish.
Yeah, well, so I am.
Here's how this spins around. Here it comes.
Jason has so many nationalities. He's also Cherokee.
I am. I'm a Native American Indian. I'm the only one supposed to be here in this room.
No, I got some in me. Seminole. We talked about it. Yes.
Seminole? I don't know. Do you really have Seminole?
My mom says we're Indian.
I mean, I was scalping. My folks scalping.
Oh, what? Why?
for sure.
I've just now offended the entire Native American.
I do want to apologize.
You're part of that group.
It's part of the group.
I am part of it.
No.
I am part of it.
You're canceled.
Coming soon.
I know, canceled.
I've been canceled every episode.
All right, what's the Delve question?
It says, all right.
By the way, before he answers it, Delve Cards, DELVE, DelveCards.com, parents. I've said this all last season. I'm saying it again. You go Boardwalk Games. Check them out. This is an incredible conversation piece because you get kids around the table. I did this when my kids were teens and coming up. We have the dinner table and you say, hey, how was your day? I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. Whatever. We would pull out a Delve card at the table and spark so much conversation. And so I'd encourage you if you're a young parent, and even if they're in they have different age brackets and all that, check them out. Delve Cards, it's so good. Juice.
I think I might have had this one.
Hey, pull any of them.
I had that one before.
We've
I
had
think we
one?
might have had this one.
Man, we had a lot of
spots.
spots.
I can't remember. We got a lot of cards there. Maybe I need to order some new ones.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
All right, here we
I
go.
think these two we've had are very
Juice,
similar.
here we go.
Okay. What are your go-to person? What are you
Wow.
go-to person for in your family or social circle? So what are you the go-to person for in your family or social circle?
All right. So I feel like with my wife, I can be the go-to person. Like anything electronics broken,
Yeah.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
She'll look at me and she'll be like, "Why is this not working?" I'm like, "Hey, your guess is good spot sometimes."
If she comes to you to fix their
That's your world. That's on your side. I'd also say grilling. I'm also
Of course, yeah.
I'm definitely the grill side of things, which I would tell you guys we had the best because like what she does inside the kitchen to make my stuff look good is insanely good. So I got to give her massive.
Danielle Becker can cook some
She
food.
can, she can straight up cook. I always talk about having a chef on the show. I really just want to get her on the show.
She can
let her do one of her famous side dishes.
Yes.
This is insane.
And I will taste that side before her.
Or soup, like we're doing gumbo for New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. Her gumbo is probably some of the best
So
gumbo I've
good.
ever had.
It is so
I
good.
don't think I've had it.
Hey, you got to come over and get
I think
some
we did jambalaya before.
Yeah,
I don't think
definitely
we've
done
done
that.
gumbo.
Her gumbo. So
Yeah,
she always does it's her family tradition, Christmas Eve gumbo. Where they're from?
Yeah, Louisiana.
Her dad's side is all from Louisiana, so
Yeah, mine's obviously photography or video stuff.
yeah.
I go somewhere I'm there once. I got to take the
Time for you
pictures
to
and
take
all
the
this.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my obvious answer.
I would say also cars, like oil changes, warranty work, stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff. Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
that. Mine is all about problem solving.
Problem solving. Okay.
Whatever the issue is, I'm the one they're going to talk them through on how to solve the problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Money, finances, relationships.
Calling you for all of it.
That where I'm getting the advice stuff.
That's what people ask me all the time too. What's my opinion on certain world situations? Because I'm a history buff, geography buff. I grew up on all that too. So people ask me that all the time. My opinions on.
I've actually
So
never
current
once
events.
asked your opinion on any
You should.
social.
But I want to.
Stop the TED anything. Just let me know. I mean,
Tesla stop locally.
I know a little bit about everything and a lot about nothing.
A little bit about everything and a lot about nothing. I love it, man.
Brandon, what's yours? What's your go-to?
Man, I don't think I have anything. Nobody comes to me for anything. So it might be,
Come on.
No.
Something.
Positive vibe.
I'm pretty good at telling people to clean their rooms.
Oh, yeah, the room cleaning stuff.
So that's probably what my kids would say.
That's always been
that's
the
the
room
best-
cleaning stuff.
That's the best at that.
Yeah.
Of like, he doesn't like messes. I don't. So anyway, that's not a good thing to come to.
What would we ask Brandon about? Like, what
If I were gonna
I had buy-in and Brandon?
question,
Nothing.
I might ask you something about like dogs.
Dogs.
Labrador.
But I don't really have a lot of people ask me about dogs.
Well, he's not good at that. He left him out. They run down the road.
His dogs are
Time.
crazy.
I got crazy.
I mean,
By the way, that's not my dog. It's more of an adopted dog into the family.
And I told you not to do it.
But it was
Stray
dog.
dog is what it is, right? He's got him a
But
stray
it's not
dog.
really
Man,
my
they went out and
choice.
got this designer dog.
When this dog comes to my house and I'm not part of the purchase process of it, I just kind of got to bite my lip because now we got a new family member.
Yeah, you're outnumbered. You've got more.
That dog came and laid on my chest today. She's like, I just want to love you. And I'm just like, you know what?
Get away from you, dog.
We're still working through it.
That's great.
Yeah, Tony, we're all outnumbered with females in the house.
We are outnumbered.
You're outnumbered?
No, it's all got 3 boys and 1 girl.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So it was pretty easy on
So
that.
3 girls that never brought home a dog and say, Dad, can it stay?
No,
Well,
Donna
hey,
Brady's
what do
on
you-
horses though.
what you-
You probably gravitated more on the more aggression side than other females. You know, when you have a lot of females, and honestly, my daughters are fairly aggressive. I wouldn't say they're meek at all, but I've noticed that if and I think it helped having a brother grow up and be and he's the oldest, so you know, challenging a little bit more. Yeah. But I noticed there's a little difference when it's just 2 girls, and again, not your girls are just they're not pushovers or anything of that nature either. But there is something different about a girl that grows up with.
Bunch of boys.
Well, especially a bunch of boys.
Is she the youngest or what's her?
She's in the middle.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Blended families. Well, so
you
had
got-
2 and 2.
She see both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Older and younger.
Okay.
That's crazy. So that was a good question, but I don't think we've still.
No,
figured out
Brandon's
what-
still.
I don't think I have a thing, bro.
Would you be like the go-to guy to figure out like where y'all gonna eat?
Nope.
What are you good?
Nothing, bro.
Making the money.
Yeah.
I make money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're the breadwinner.
Maybe
I
they come
got.
to that. Maybe they come to that.
No.
His wife's pretty. She's right there with him. She's right there with him in those offices.
She is.
Didn't carry yes man where he's
she
like,
is-
I got to say yes to everything.
That's awesome.
She's good too.
No,
You got a good team.
she is. We own 4 businesses, and she's the owner of all 4.
There you go.
She's the boss, and I love that.
It's always good to have a minority owner. It's good for taxes.
Yeah, I'm the minority owner. Yeah, no. Well, she is 51% of all our business.
Yeah, boy. You know, that's the other thing is that she kick you to the curb.
She does, and I love it. It's scary. Somebody's gonna put me in my place.
Like I know what you're the go-to person for, but I'm not gonna say it out loud.
I can't, yeah. I think we're on the same
horrible.
thing. We're thinking,
It's totally legal here in Florida.
prostitution?
Yeah, it's in the cannabis industry. So
I feel like you know a lot about that.
but I see
in
I
a
see
very
it a
healthy, by
different
the way,
way.
in a very healthy way.
I see it as
very healthy way.
very, very good medicine when
Yeah.
used appropriately.
No, I agree. It's a
phenomenal.
very healthy way. You're not that.
It's phenomenal.
You're not like a junkie on the side of the road kind of stuff. yeah.
No, I'm not that guy.
better than all them big pharma pills, right?
See, I was in big pharma. I'm not in that anymore.
100%. Man, growing up, I've had tons of mentors. I talked about my father-in-law was a mentor. I've had faith mentors. I've had pastors that have led me, and pastors I've worked with that were mentors. So in different ways, I've had therapists that in my opinion, have been incredible mentors to me, even though I probably paid them, But well, I know I did. So
Maybe.
I probably did. Do I still owe anybody? No. So, but I've had a lot of great people that helped me work through life. In fact, my daughter just played tennis match. She played a tennis tournament yesterday, and it was really kind of more for fun because they had just a lot of mixed people in. The levels were different, so she really like 3 of her matches were against guys. So the strength was just really about getting in that playing games and so Sophia, and she played really good. I couldn't believe how well she played and how far she's come along in her lessons. But her coach tells her in tennis, as a mentor to her in tennis, tells her that consistency is what breeds out winning. And we've talked a lot about consistency here today, but it's just that consistency of playing, that consistency of swinging, that consistency of taking that step towards that ball or being at the net or serving or whatever it is. The more you do it, the better you're going to get, right? But mentors mean so much. I mean, you've talked about you're doing coaching, you've got this business going on. Do you have mentors for you? And have you? And how does that look?
So for me, probably the biggest mentor I had was my dad.
Yeah.
He was the founder of the company that I sold previously. Taught me 80% of what I know about business.
Right.
And mostly taught me how to handle people. And he would always tell me, well, if you get better people skills, you're endless to what you can do.
Right.
And it took me until I was in my 40s to figure that out. All of us take a little longer than others.
Yeah.
No, I feel you there.
Yeah, so you
I feel you
understand.
there.
Now I'm in my 50s. I feel like I'm going to master it, and I have, and I'm going to be able to recruit the talent I want People will want to come to work for me. So now for me, mentoring is I follow along several people. John Maxwell, I've read just about every book he's ever wrote. Sure.
I own every book he's ever wrote. I do. I own every book.
But have you read? Were you like him? You read?
I've read them all, and I got them on audio.
Yeah, me too.
I had a lot of drive
I've done
time.
a lot of the studies.
I've
Like
done a lot
High
of
Level
drive
Leadership,
time.
I just finished. I've read 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership probably 5 times.
He's revised it.
You're finding some of the folks that you're diving into now. So it's not so much one-on-one necessarily with people that you're talking with, but you're on with in the self. I don't say self-help, but like motivational thinking sort of.
I'm looking at people that are successful. Like, so another guy I follow big time is Brandon Dawson out of Fort Lauderdale, him and Grant Cardone. He's Grant's partner. He's the business side. And that guy will teach you how to scale a business like I've never seen. Okay. And you talk about sometimes consistency over a long period of time can help you grow a business. He can show you how to scale a business overnight and be successful.
Very interesting.
And it's through processes and systems.
100%.
Yeah. So in doing that, so I'm following him a lot now and what he's doing. And then I like small groups. Find people that are doing better than you, and when you want to get to that level, go talk to them.
Yeah.
I tell all the students that I speak with now, somebody that's successful, that wants to be successful, is always going to help somebody under them.
Yeah.
When somebody's not successful is when they're not willing to help people.
Yeah.
They're acting like they're successful. They're acting like they have. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Because those that have success, they want to pour it back in.
Sure.
They've arrived.
Because and somebody poured into them.
Exactly right. Just like with me, I'll help anybody out that's younger.
So I totally agree. I have a number of young people that I continue to mentor, and most of the people that, listen, if you're watching this now and you want to DM me something, then do it. Send me a DM if we don't know each other, and I'm glad to help you. Here, you got all my stuff, and I know they throw it on the screen, my Instagram handle and all that good stuff. But I totally agree. You've got to pour into other people. Hurt people, but healthy people help people.
And with that generation we were talking about earlier, where my passion is right now is that 18 to 24 year olds. It's because I wished I would have had more guidance then. So I'm all about that 18 to 24 year olds. I'm mentoring probably 6 students right now from Mercer University.
That's so cool.
And helping them out. And that's kind of the same way. If you want, I'll tell every student, I'm not going to call you and tell you how to do it. But if you call me and you email me and you get in contact with me, I'm going to reply. I'm going to set up a time with you and we're going to talk.
Steps. And I've mentored people, and I still do that. There's times I've checked in on people, and I'll do a good job. But I can only do so much. Life hits me. Your life's hitting you. And if you want a mentor, and that's probably a great point. If you're wanting a mentor, you're the one that's got to be proactive about it. There's people out there that will help you, but you can't expect, he hasn't called me or he hasn't checked in on them. That's not their job.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to learn, you've got to learn. Whether it's you want to learn how to be better in finance, you want to learn how to think better, and it's just maybe mental health, or you need accountability. I mean, it's all of those things. It doesn't really quite work the same way. Sometimes in the addiction world, you get a sponsor, and that almost flips the switch in that one.
But there's a serious problem there.
Checks in on you a little bit more. But outside of that, in mentorship, it's totally opposite. You've got to be the one driving the knowledge and asking the questions and reaching out. And in fact, I tell you, if you're 18 to 17 to 22, really even 24, 25, 26 years old, and you're not asking a ton of questions about people around you,
the word of the day is initiative.
Yeah,
I like initiative.
Initiative.
Take action. You have to have action. It's on you, man. It ain't on nobody else.
If you ain't asking questions and you're not trying to learn, then you're going to be left behind.
Or you're not getting in the right room with the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. So true. So stinking true. And how would you go about finding mentors? I mean, these kids you were speaking at, that was something, but that can be daunting because I know you can go into a classroom setting. It could be an what do you call it, an auditorium sort of classroom,
correct? Yeah.
And it might have 100 kids in there, and you're speaking to them, and that's great. And I know there are the bold kids that will come down and talk, but that can be daunting.
It can be, but I think 2 things. I encourage every student I speak with to first look at their parents and their parents' friends.
That's exactly what
I said, because when you look at your parents' best friend's dad may be a CEO of a company, or he may be a city council member or a county commissioner. Call those people up and go have lunch with them. Go have breakfast. Take them coffee. Go sit in the room. So start with that.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Church.
If you are like my kid's age, like if you're 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, again, even 25, 26, what he just said is like a super sauce, man. It's priceless.
Yeah.
This just went from a $10 podcast, $15 podcast.
Whoa,
right?
whoa,
I'm
whoa.
bringing you guys up value already.
But what kids have that initiative? There's not all of them
where it
do.
is, man.
Because
Or they just don't know what to do.
I think a lot of kids
They're afraid, but don't be afraid,
Right.
because like what Tony said is that person you're going to, if they're worth their weight in salt and they've had mentorship themselves, they want to give back.
they want to give back.
And you're going to get
That's
rejected.
the thing.
The other thing I've told
Who
these kids
cares?
is you're going to get rejected. So before you go jumping, monitor that person a little bit and see who they are and their personality. You'll know if that person's willing to help you. And it's either introductory email, introductory text, a personal introductory if you can get it. But to your point, it's not as hard as you think. It's the drive of that kid. And when I talked to 400 kids this last group in October, 2 classes, probably close to 400 kids total. And in that group, I offered for every student at no charge, I would coach them, mentor them. All they had to do was call me. I left my contact information there, gave them my Driven for Success Instagram page, my Tony Carter page for Facebook. I said, and then my LinkedIn. Just message me. Out of almost 400 students, how many do you think reached out to me?
6.
Less than 5.
You're right.
Six.
But when you think about it,
insane.
what is the top 2% incomers in the world? It's the same mentality, the same people. We can't fix them all. I want to. I'd love to help every
College
kid in there.
doesn't necessarily set you up for everybody to be a leader, right?
Absolutely.
They put plenty of people in mid-level jobs, plenty of people in just
Middle
below the
management,
C-suite,
upper management,
mid-management, upper
then
management.
ownership.
There are a few that go to C-suite.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most interesting conversations, I might have said this on the pod, I've talked about Truett Cathy, who was live, 7th grade Sunday school teacher. And but he did a commencement speech at Clayton State College at the time, before Clayton State University. And I went because there was a sales guy in our company, his son was graduating. And so I went to the commencement speech and heard him say how he told them all to look around them graduating. He said, most of you will not own your own business. And why they wouldn't own their own business, he said, because you have a college degree. And that most entrepreneurs don't have a college degree.
That's that blue collar millionaire mentality that's back now. It's stronger than ever.
It's been there. My father-in-law was not a college.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're business owner. That's exactly right. And business college.
I went to
degrees
college,
don't-
but I didn't
College
get a
degrees
degree.
don't
Yeah.
stop you from being a hard worker.
It almost hinders you to
can't-
an extent.
it can't, but
Unless
that's-
you're at a
but
certain field, you don't necessarily need to
when
come.
you don't have a degree, and you're out in the workforce, and you're starting a company, and you got a family to feed,
You're hungry.
you're hungry.
But there's a difference
You're
between
hungry.
hungry and wanting to eat.
Yes.
So when you're hungry, there's no food in the pantry, and you got to go get it.
Yes.
If you want to eat, there's food in the pantry. You're just too lazy to get up off the couch to go fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
That's
young
the
today-
mentality.
And if you're young today, how do you flip that switch? So if they're hearing this today and they're like, how do you check yourself to make sure? Because I always tell my son, he's never missed a meal. And my kids, they've never missed a meal. And I try to provide for them the best
keep 'em
possible life.
hungry
I say,
somehow.
how do you stay hungry?
How do you
And I
create
think
the struggle?
For him, I'm like, how do you stay? And I'm saying him because he's the closest into the workforce. He's about to graduate college. And my daughters, I say the same thing to them too. But how do you stay hungry?
It's
How
the
do you
pack.
stay that way?
The P is the most important
Plan,
one.
Action.
It's the plan.
Action.
It's the plan. So I tell all these kids that you got to have a 12-month plan,
Yeah.
a 36-month plan,
Yeah.
and a 120-month plan. If you do not think that you're going to live 10 years from today, why are you living right now?
Yeah.
So in that mentality of
Yeah.
when you're 21 years old and you look at all your friends or your parents' friends that are 31 or your cousins or uncles, I don't care who they are, and you look at them, okay, do I want to be where they are at 31 or do I want to be better than them? And I'm not saying by more money. I mean by whether it's accessibility in life to where I'm comfortable where I'm at, whether it's in my job, my
Whatever your
friends.
goal is, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want to own a home or you want to be in a bigger, better apartment or if you want to have
Exactly.
$6,000 saved or if you want to have
Yep.
whatever it is, you have to have a plan for it.
So you gotta write it down.
Interesting that you talk about that. Danielle has done that since that was one of the first things I realized which it was different from her. I remember at college and she would write out a budget for 3 months, where we wanted to be in 6 months, where we wanted to be in 3 years. She would write these things out. And then every year we would do this together.
What?
And we've done this our entire lives, like plan out what we've done. But she was doing that when she was like 17, 18 years old. Now I know that came from her parents telling her, but it was
Where
always
you
like,
going to be in 10 years?
huh?
Where are you going to be in 10 years from now?
Well, I don't tell all
Oh,
my plans.
come on,
but I
bro.
have-
Some
I
plans
have
you got to keep to yourself, but your
I have
short-term
plans.
goals.
No, I have plans. I will. So you start telling people certain things. But I don't like to. I like to keep, because plans change, things adjust,
things happen. Life happens.
and then somebody's like, "Well, you didn't hit something," and that's something you. Well, first off, I don't care what people think. Like I didn't hit it. It didn't happen.
Well, they're not
It
going to
doesn't
know.
matter.
It's a personal.
Well, if I
feeling.
keep it to me,
Yeah.
and sometimes I say, "Well, this is what we want to do in 10 years."
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then you don't hit it. It's like, oh,
In 10 years from now, I'm going to remember that. Back
Hey,
whatever
that's
you tell
right.
me.
Well, some people, most people want, they love to see failures. As Americans, we love to see failures. We revel in it in general. And and
to
you
an
like to
ex-
see somebody fail.
Dumpster fires. Everybody loves
Dumpster
to see good
fires.
old
We
dumpster
love it.
fires.
But
Unfortunately, it
that doesn't mean you
sells
gotta be
news.
that one. You
Negative
gotta be
news
that
sells better than positive news.
100%.
There's so many great things going on in this
It's
country
what I
every
love
day.
about
They won't
this
promote any of
podcast.
it.
I want to promote
Exactly.
better. I want to tell you what you can do, and again, you could gravitate to it.
Yeah.
And what a leader you are in this community. I will tell you what, and I know you're around a bunch of washed up locals here, but I'm telling you, man, we as locals are so excited to have you here. And I know there's people that are going to watch this podcast. And if you're from the Emerald Coast, I mean, you need to know Tony. You need to know True North Pest Control. You love to be involved in the communities you're
Absolutely.
in. You're not just, and I know you're involved in the communities in Georgia, and I know you're involved in Central Florida, and I know you're becoming more and more involved here. And what I love about you, you're jumping straight in. This podcast will come out the second week in January. You've committed to then, is it the month of January?
And
we're gonna do?
February.
Month of January and February. What is it again? You're going to.
I'll match every dollar that we do for new business in January and February. We'll donate it to your charity.
Do new business going to Emerald Coast
100%
Children's
of it.
Advocacy Center. So I'm telling you right now, if you got pest control, 30A, Miramar Beach, Santa Rosa Beach, let's load him up. Let's make it so crazy that, and he's not going to regret this. Trust me, he's not going to regret this. Let's load him up in new business. February 25, January 25, February 25, and let's blow the socks off the water. I want, like, when we get it, I want to go over and meet with Julie and, like, give it to her.
A big check.
Oh,
I had to print off a big check.
Like,
Brandon's got 4 businesses.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I want to do one more though, because I have a charity already for the area, and it's the Harlan Foundation.
Okay.
So the Harlan
me about it.
Foundation
Tell me
is
about
the one that the Stock and Trade Michael's doing,
Okay, I know.
and they're building the
I played golf with Steve the other day.
special needs apartment building next to Stock and Trade, and that's going to be for kids with Down syndrome, and they're going to be able to live, work out of there. So I've that was my first community involvement. I saw
Yes.
it. I love the passion of it.
I love it too.
So I immediately started giving to that community and to that
so
program.
they'll probably have like a little area, like a assistant helper area or something in the building, the facility, I guess. Like
Yeah, so these kids will be able to live independently there, and they're going to have
that's
somebody there
great.
all the time to kind of monitor them and watch them.
Amazing.
And I think it's either 30 or 60 units. I can't remember exactly. I'm not.
So right in front of Stock, like
It's to the right of it. That's already deeded for it, ready to go. The drawings are done.
So they haven't built it
How
yet.
do we not like? How do we live in this area? I've never heard of this.
Sometimes
They just did a
nobody's
big-
promoting enough of things like this.
Yeah.
And we need to start promoting. That's why I'm bringing Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center on, because I want to promote
Great
them
idea.
too, and I need to bring on.
Yeah,
we'll bring them on too.
So Michael is
My commitment is I'll bring on them.
Yeah, Harlan is the son. That's
Yeah.
where the name's after it. So I'm going to match it to the same months, January and
You're
February.
going to do both of them.
I'm going to do both of it. I've already met with them Friday.
Gee,
Let's load it up, Jenny. I'm telling you, people, Emerald Coast, watch
North
this.
Pest
I'll do a
Control.
reel for this section. It's going to go out on social media. I'm telling you guys, we got to load up True North Pest Control. I don't know of another service company that has thrown the gauntlet like that.
Well,
that I can
we're
remember.
about to start a trend.
We're going to start a trend.
I like it.
Yeah.
We're going to start a trend.
Start a
man.
trend.
So my old business cards for years used to have the word catalyst on it from John Maxwell. And it was because I wanted to start things. That's the
Let's start
example.
the trend.
That's
man.
right.
Let's
Start a
do it,
movement.
baby.
And then to the
True
community
North
up at the local.
Pest.com. TRU.
I told you.
Everything
North.
goes
North.
And no, I'm sorry, bro.
Pestcontrol.com.
Yep.
No, TrueNorthPest.com.
Yeah, tree on
TRU North
Northpest.com.
We'll look, it'll be all over the screen. You got to go to them. Tell them JB sent you. You're doing it for charity. I'm telling you, you're going to get great service. That's the other thing. You're going to
Absolutely.
get great service. So I'm super excited about it. Man, I love that you get involved in community because it's so important when you're in business that you give back to the people you're serving.
Well, hopefully people see that you care and you're not there just for the money.
You're not there.
And I think about all the charities we do in Henry
I know
County
you do.
and all the Friends House and the Havens House and all those different, because they're all children driven. And that's where I'm at. My heart's there.
I do them behind the scenes with me now with the things that we're doing. But when I was at CLM, I wanted the same thing.
Absolutely.
I want people to know, look, we're driving through your neighborhood, but we actually don't. I actually give a rip about the community.
Absolutely.
And I live here too. I live, work, and play here too. And I want to do that. And that's what I think that all your people in Georgia, you still have places in Georgia, your daughter's still in Georgia, and everybody's
Still got a house there.
You still got a house. You're not leaving Georgia, but you are here
Full time.
Full time. Your son's now running the
Full-time.
place here, full time here. And I think that's what people here in this 30A, as you're launching this section here, needs to know is that you guys are all in here.
We're here for the long haul.
That's what I really love here. I want to, before we close up, I want to it's really now to our time though that and I think that's a really important point, but it's now time for our audience life questions. Yeah, so I wanted to, we're back to our Dear Jabroni section. And I threw it out there. Again, this is coming out in January, but here in December, I threw a couple reels out, and I'll keep throwing reels out up into the time. But I've had some people email us at $10. So email us at $10, $10 podcast@gmail.com. No, we just dropped that down. $10 podcast.
We just lost that.
$10 podcast at gmail.com. And email us questions that you've been pondering, things that you're just not sure what to do. It's totally anonymous. And so our question today is actually a really good one. It came in last week, and it says, Dear Jabronis, how do you get better at promoting yourself when it does not come naturally? That's a good one. That is a good That's question. A really good question. By the way, I told everybody, I said, one of my reels, I said, I know your mama or your teacher might have said there's no stupid question, but there are. So only send us in like real questions, you know. But you know, that is a good one. I mean, how do you get better at promoting yourself when it does not come naturally? I mean, that's tough. I mean, I think
say work ethics. You know, you're just being who you are, but
that's good stuff.
Ass all the time. Being
grab your mic though. I don't know if we heard anything good you had to say. Grab your.
Put your mic back. Work ethics. $10 podcast.
$10 podcast. This is your first one.
It is my first one.
I think work ethic is good. I mean,
Is this like an introverted versus extroverted?
I think it probably is. I think that's what I'm getting is.
I think role play. I think to get your confidence up. I took my first public speaking. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
And I believe I've come light years ahead of where I'm at from the beginning. So for me, that Simon Sinek has a very cost-effective classes you can go in there and take for him. I started there. And now I'm going to the John Maxwell leadership training in January, February, I think is coming up for 3 days to do public speaking. So I think you got to role play in front of a mirror if that's what it takes.
I think you might be right. I think you need role play. I think you can I do think if you're the other thing too is that how do you self promote? So that's the other thing is you're not really good at promoting yourself. And you know today you've got to be able to promote yourself. And so some people sometimes you see meekness as weakness, and meekness is not weakness, it's just power under control, right?
Being humble is very attractive.
And humble is attractive, but you do have to promote yourself. You do, if people don't know you're out there, they won't know you're out there.
And I don't think you have to be flashy. I think you can be humble and do it. But you got to be consistent, right? So you got to do something. You got to have action. So just start.
So maybe
and be natural.
Maybe that's the thing is pick one thing. Maybe you decide I'm going to do one reel. I mean, I think you should be doing a reels if you've got a business that can be promoted on social media, you ought to be trying to do a reel a day. But if you're wanting to promote your business, you could just start doing that. That's an easy way to promote. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, look at me. It can be, look at the thing I've done. Yeah. And sometimes the best promotions is teaching somebody. So maybe if you're a designer and you want to say, hey, look at what I just designed here, or here's a quick way to put a flower tray together. Or maybe if you're in, maybe you have an oil change business. I mean, I'm just really, if it's shooting off the hip, maybe you talk to people about the oil that you don't have to use different, you just pick up different things, but so maybe that's one way where you're not like saying, come to my oil change shop because, and you're like the screaming guy with the flying stuff everywhere or whatever. You could be giving something to someone, some knowledge about here's the oil you should use in the winter, and here's the oil you should use in the summer, and here's why checking your tires is important or whatever. So you could be teaching, but also self-promoting. So sometimes that can be a hidden way.
You don't have to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, you don't have to be in front of the camera. You could be behind the camera and just show it, or just
You have
write
somebody
it.
else do it.
You have somebody else do it, or you
might
could,
get it
A
right
lot
when
of
you
these are
get somebody-
voiceless ones. You could just show it and then write the 5 things that make for that you should do in checking your tire, or these are the 5 tips in cooking this meal, or whatever it is you're promoting. So,
And not only that, you can help. AI can help you write it.
well, AI can.
That's right. That's the thing too. That helps you so much. Is don't be scared to just write down 2 or 3 words and ask AI to elaborate.
That's a very good way. So thank you to this person that sent in. Again, it's anonymous. I'm not saying names.
Who's the name?
I have the name, but I'm not saying the name. I said to be anonymous. We're honor anonymity because I want you to feel comfortable, and that's how it'll go. So again, if you're watching this podcast and you've got a question and you want to send it in and see if we can't help solve it, maybe we can, maybe we can. I mean, what do we know? But send it in. $10, that's $10 podcast@gmail.com. So I think we did pretty good. And so we're going to come into the Listen Up Kids section. This is the Listen Up Kids section. Tony, thanks so much for being on here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
My audience, and I'm going to be pitching this reels out. We are going to load up True North Pest Control down here in the Emerald Coast. They'll do it for the Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center and the Harlan Foundation. So we're going to do it for both of them. So, but listen up, kids. Consistency is important. You may not have a mantra or a hashtag, but you can steal Tony's. He totally lets you. But maybe you need one. Maybe you don't. But you do need a plan. You do need to start executing against that plan, and you need to be consistent. So find some people to help you check your plan, your mental well-being, and folks that can help you keep focused and stay on track, or don't. I mean, what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.